Gear Tasting Radio is brought to you by Imminent Threat Solutions. ITS provides knowledge that empowers individuals with indispensable skill sets to explore the world and prevail against all threats. Right now, as a special thank you for all podcast listeners, we're offering 10% off in the ITS store. Simply use the code GTR to save 10% at store.itstactical.com. All right, welcome to Gear Tasting Radio. I am Brian Black, joined by Rob Henderson, as always today. And today we are going to chat about SHOT Show. Just got back from SHOT Show, and I thought I would kind of clue everybody in on what we did this year, how it's been different from last year, and just some of the things that we saw in industry-related issues, not issues, you know what I mean, industry-related stuff.
I find like SHOT Show's half and half. People are either like, oh, that's so cool, or people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, and issues is a weird word. I'm just realizing that. Like, meaning issues
could be positive or negative.
Right, yeah. But they're negative to me, so I always feel like I have to go, wait, I don't have an issue with anything. Anyway.
We got beef at SHOT Show.
Yeah. So this year was a little different. We typically go to SHOT Show, which SHOT Show is the sporting, outdoor, hunting, firearms industry, big to-do each year. And primarily, SHOT Show was set up as a place for dealers to access vendors and to sign up, basically to see.
I forget what that's called, like a closed conference or something like that. It's supposed to be exclusive.
It's an industry
like people buying.
Yeah, so it's not a consumer level trade show. It is
Can't just buy
industry.
tickets to SHOT Show.
Correct. So you have to have a valid business in the let's just say shooting sports. That's probably good because it's the NSSF, which is the National Shooting Sports Foundation. That's who runs the SHOT Show. So they are businesses within the shooting sports arena, which includes, they have sections for law enforcement and tactical and outdoor and things like that.
They have hunting products specifically?
I'm not sure if they specifically label an area as hunting, but they absolutely have every hunting vendor, most hunting vendors there. So the gist of the show is that it's just massive now. There are 3 floors of booths, and literally if you were to set foot on the show floor and just walk to see every booth, you would probably not see them all within the 4 days that the show is going
selective.
on. Yeah. So the show runs Tuesday through Friday, and Friday is kind of like a half day. So really, it's 3.5 days, not technically 4, but... And then Monday is primarily reserved for a range day. So it's a media range day. So the media goes out and gets to have the opportunity to shoot firearms that are released that year and things like that.
And that's previously what we've gone out there for.
Yes, yeah.
It's like the media aspect.
Right. So typically we cover it as media. And while we did do some media coverage on Instagram and things like that this year was a little different because we were offered the chance by one of our industry partners. So one of our manufacturers for nylon goods has a booth there every year, Rain Inc. And they allowed us to basically set up a little area there with our products that they make for us and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. We launched a little, the E&E pouch is something we've been working on, so we were able to kind of display that and launch it. And the ability for us to talk with customers and industry people this year was phenomenal. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So
that's awesome.
On the gear front, I did have a chance to walk around and see a few things, even though I was kind of in a booth.
Sure.
And I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it as much this year, being kind of tied to a booth versus the coverage we typically do. But I really did enjoy the interaction I had with, people that were not only, fellow people in the media, but all the different industry people that I was able to connect with that walked by the booth and stuff like that. So it was really cool to do that. We also launched a brand new product kind of in the space in the market called the Tourniquet pouch. So I'm excited to finally even be able to say the name.
Can't believe we just said that on the air.
Yeah, it's been 2 years that I've been working on this thing, and it's patent pending and super protected, and I've learned my lesson from people ripping off our past designs. So trying to protect it as much as possible this time, and it really represents something new to the market. which is the first tourniquet pouch on the market that actually deploys a tourniquet. So it's not just a pouch for storage or something like that. It actually deploys a tourniquet when you open the pouch. So
it gives you the benefits of the pouch, but also the benefits of being able to access it like right now.
Yes. So the way that my spiel on that when I talked to the media, so I basically had the chance to talk to Eric from Soldier Systems came by and took some photos and wrote up a little thing about it. Some people from alloutdoor.com did that, as well as the firearm blog. So I was stoked that I got some coverage in those news outlets. But yeah, what I said in my spiel is that I set out to solve 3 problems with traditional tourniquet pouches on the market. So one is that with tourniquets, they can lose their efficacy or ability to work properly if they're exposed to UV light, or they get wet or sand and dirt and things like that. Yeah, so environmental concerns are a big deal, and a lot of tourniquet pouches on the market aren't completely sealed. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my first avenue to set out to fix was that. And then I got into kind of the mounting. So that's another limitation I feel like on the market, is that there are tourniquet pouches that even protect the full tourniquet, but however they're limited to how you can mount them. So maybe it's just MOLLE or it's just a belt. But this 4-way mounting system, as part of our patent, it allows you to not only mount it horizontally or vertically on a belt, but also it allows you to mount it to MOLLE, and then additionally it has some straps to mount to a backpack or a chest rig strap. So then the third thing was that there's been nothing ever invented on the market that allows a tourniquet to deploy upon opening a pouch, and that was the huge deal I had to solve. So through folding techniques and manufacturing and the way we created this pouch, it does deploy both a cat tourniquet as well as a soft T-wide tourniquet. So that's kind of the big news.
That's a huge benefit.
Yeah, but that's what we've been working on. So we're calling it the Tourniquet pouch, and hopefully it won't be too much longer before we release them into the wild. We've got kind of our initial gen kicking. It'll probably just be available in black first, but then we'll have some stuff in other colorways to
any color
follow up.
You want, as long as it's black.
Yeah.
For its first run.
Yeah, it's the Henry Ford colorway.
As long as it's black, or you want to wait.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was kind of the big news from our front.
Cool.
And then taking into account some other things that I saw. First off, we had someone out at Range Day, and they were able to go check out the new glasses from Gators, which I'm a huge fan of Gators sunglasses, and they've just released some impact-resistant frames, or lenses and frames, I should say. And they chose the style that I like to wear to release the first pair, in which I was pretty stoked about. And we got a pair to kind of test out, too, and I'll go over them on the next gear tasting, probably. But they're ANSI rated, so it's like a Z87 Plus is the rating that they have, and I was looking up some differences between the Plus and just the standard 87 rating, and I couldn't really find anything really definitive other than the breakdown of what the Plus testing criteria is. So on that front, it's basically, I had to write it down here on my little Post-it. So it's a 102 mile per hour steel ball shot at the lens from 150 feet.
That sounds
and it's a 1/4-inch steel ball,
beyond.
which is actually a pretty good sized steel ball.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is a 5-foot drop of a 500-gram pointed weight onto the lens. So they call that a high mass test. And,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So essentially, it's glasses you can now wear on the range, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
Especially for all of us that have already been wearing our Gators out on the range.
Yeah, guilty.
Yeah. When we probably weren't supposed to.
Yeah, but they say that their impact resistant is what they call them, and they've got the Z87 Plus marking on them. And
are they polarized?
They are not.
Good.
They are not polarized.
I don't like polarized.
Yeah, I'm becoming less of a fan of polarized glasses through the years, and it's always been something I wanted on sunglasses, and I don't know, maybe it's fallen out of favor with me. I'm not.
I've
really
been
sure.
forced to switch to unlock my phone with my face.
Oh, that's right.
So it kills me every time I look.
So what is it about polarization on glasses that doesn't allow the Face ID to work?
Well, I don't know if it's specifically the polarization, but the specific sunglasses I was looking at were the Ray-Ban Wayfarers, and their lenses on the polarized ones are a little thinner, which allow the infrared sensor to penetrate the lens and come back to the sensor. So my regular non-polarized Gators unlock the phone no problem. I have no issues with that. It has to do with the thickness of the lenses, but I switched to a polarized pair, and I like it because it unlocks, but every time I look at like the back window of a car or anything that has a screen or anything like that, it's like I'm seeing things in like multicolor spots and stuff, because a lot of the stuff that they do with polarization is like tinting and things like that, and it just makes your world appear odd.
I've seen that before too. So
yeah, that's my beef with polarized.
Especially like looking out of the windows sometimes in cars, you'll get that funky pattern.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Yeah,
they can be more trouble than they're worth sometimes. I agree with that.
But that's cool that they're doing that now.
It's good to see them adopting that.
And which style is this?
It's the Magnum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I eagerly anticipate the Raptors.
They're calling them the Magnum Zs, which, I assume means the Z87 rating that it has now. So
the Magnums.
Yeah, Magnums. I like it. It's kind of cool.
That's what they should do, is they should just change the end instead of like Raptors and be Raptors.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Gators, you can keep that one for free.
There'd probably be a problem.
But anyway. Probably.
And Gators is spelled with a Z.
Right.
But they've already kind of done that.
That was probably pitched and not accepted.
Well, that was one of the big things. And then I also got to kind of get away and head over and see my friends Gary and Mike at Dead Air Silencers and Dead Air Suppressors, Dead Air Silencers.
Dead Air Armament, I think.
Dead Air.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
They call it.
Screw that
How about Dead Air?
I apologize, guys. Yeah, Dead Air. So they were showcasing their new suppressor height flip-up sights.
Oh, cool.
They were super cool, man. Like the machinery on those that is just so intricate. So there's no...
For handguns?
I'll explain.
Okay.
So when you're shooting a suppressor, your regular front sight as well as your rear sight is obscured by the suppressor. So these are flip-up sights for a handgun. So you can literally lift them up so they're now above the height of the suppressor, and now you've got sights. So
do they still work when they're in the down position?
They do.
That's cool.
It's kind of an intricate system. So suppressor height sights have been in existence for a while, but the problem is that you have to install them, and then they get hung on everything when you go to holster, and if you don't have a suppressor on there, it's almost
look ridiculous.
It's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's not that they won't work without a suppressor. It's just more retail or real estate that gets taken up that is more propensity to catch on things and things like that. So these are literally machined to where they can fold up and down, and there's no spring in the system at all. It's just done with machining. So you can imagine kind of the tension because of the cuts in the metal. It's really neat to see.
So does it lock?
They do. I mean, they don't lock, but they have enough tension in the down position where they're not going to flop back on you or anything like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's actually a dot in the down position. So if you're looking through it, you still see the dot. And then if flipped in the up position, there's another dot. So, yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
And they're working with a tritium company to have a tritium version as well for the dots. So, yeah. I think they said like second quarter or something like that they were coming out, but yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's a cool idea.
I think it was K&S Precision they worked with on those to create them. So plus they were showcasing kind of an adjustable gas block for the AK. I think it was from K&S as well.
Oh, that'll be cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're shooting an AK with a suppressor, obviously the gases have changed.
Yeah.
More gas is coming into the receiver there. So, or I guess that's not an upper receiver on an AK, but
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically an
You're
AK
getting
just
more
has
gas.
a lower, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. And somebody came by the booth too, and I'm going to talk about this more on gear tasting because I got a barrel from him that he was just kind of going around talking to people about his product. But it is a product that has a differently drilled gas port. So it's designed not only through location but in size to reduce the amount of gas coming into the upper receiver when you're shooting a suppressed gun on the AR side. So this is an AR barrel that's specifically made to reduce the gases coming in the upper. So
interesting.
Yeah,
just so kind of tackling it from the barrel rather than a gas block.
Exactly.
That's
so
cool.
I think people are paying more attention to suppressor fired weapons now, and coming out with some options for how to deal with that extra gas coming into the receiver.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
that'll be cool to check out.
Yeah. So those are some cool things I saw and kind of got my hands on. Let me think of what else. One of these days I'm going to try out that Wolverine suppressor from Dead Air on my AK. But
that thing looks so cool.
One of these days.
Yeah.
I have to put in another tax stamp, obviously, but I'm getting so tired of those tax stamps.
Getting a little collection.
I know. So let's see. Yeah, that was kind of the gist of SHOT Show, and I really wish that I could have walked around and saw more. We were across from the Strider Knives booth, so that was kind of cool. I
Could be worse places.
Talked to them about a possible collab in the future, but we'll see how that goes. Super open to it, so I'm excited about that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then Starling Gear, the maker of those beads, was there in their booth too, and
nice.
Maybe we'll do something with that as well. But yeah, I got to kind of check out what they were doing. So apparently, Strider was two people. There's Dwayne and Mick, and I had heard that Strider was kind of going away as a company. So
really,
Mick's last name is Strider. That's where the Strider comes from.
That makes sense.
So he's kind of doing his custom stuff, and Dwayne's now doing his custom stuff. I think his name's Dwayne Dwyer or something like that. I can't remember the exact spelling of his last name. But so they're both doing their own custom stuff now rather than everything under the Strider Knives brand, if that makes sense. So they were still there with the booth. They still had plenty of knives to show, but however, they were all on the custom side.
Okay.
Rather than,
production.
I guess there was still somewhat of a production type thing there, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
It was kind of neat to see that too. And let's see, we were across also from Atlas Bipods.
Nice.
So kind of checked that out a little bit. Chatted with those guys. They make some pretty intricate options for some bipods on the precision rifle circuit.
We've had a lot of recommendations from people after showing you did your long range on a couple gear tastings. They highly favored.
Yeah, and there are a lot of modifications I've had to make to that.
Harris,
the Harris that I have. Yeah, so I've got the, what do you call it, like the quick release or quick adjust feature. I forget what that lever is called, but I've got that, and then I have some Badger upgrades that they made to the mounting of that, and all of it's in an effort to shave weight, basically, on that. So, yeah, that was some cool stuff that I saw there at SHOT Show.
So what was the funniest thing you saw at SHOT Show? I'm not going to say the worst, because that's just like the funniest thing. I know last year it was like the milk crate guys as they smash into people's ankles.
That's tough. The funniest thing might have been the picture of Mike from Orca sitting down injured during our bowling competition. So we do a party every year of some kind, kind of like a meet and greet type thing. And for the last 2 years, we've probably been doing a total of, I want to say 6 years now or something like that. But this is the second year we've had our bowling battle royale with PDW, Prometheus Design Works. So we partnered with them this year, and we had it at a bowling alley there in Vegas off the Strip at Brooklyn Bowl. And much better venue than last year. We had it last year at kind of an off-the-Strip place, and it was very much your typical bowling alley and not very party-centric, so we wanted to kind of keep it more on the Strip this year, and we did it at Brooklyn Bowl. And it was cool. We actually hired a third-party company to come run the competition for us, and they did something called Blooper Bowling. So it wasn't just like a normal bowling competition. Cool. It was basically this set of 10 different things that you do on each frame.
Like challenges.
Yeah. So like one was like bowling with your dominant hand in your pocket. So you were forced to use your offhand. Yeah, which some people really excelled at that. I didn't.
And then the way you said that, it was so like detested.
Yeah. Well, I was like, how the hell are you doing that?
Did it.
Like super ambidextrous bowlers. And like another one was like bowling with oven mitts on, and it was just kind of crazy off the wall things to do. And one was throwing a bowling ball under everybody with their legs straddled in front of the lane, which was definitely looked like it's going to be a nut cruncher, but
yeah,
it wasn't.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, actually, almost got a strike on that, believe it or not.
Wow.
And that was literally my best frame out of any of them, was the one where I wasn't even looking, and then the ball was rolling down.
Get everybody to line up for your next
right.
frames.
No shit.
Just keep doing that.
Yeah. So that competition ended with, we had 8 teams competing, so there were 8 teams of 4. Everybody just kind of got to hang out while we were bowling, and then we opened up the lanes for everybody after that.
That's fun.
And I got to do some open bowling and handed out the swag, so some patches and other things like that we brought to give away. So it turned out to be a really cool event. I think we probably had, I don't know, a little over 100 people or so there, which is cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good turnout.
Cool.
And I'd say it's probably, I don't know, a third of what our usual turnout is, maybe even a fourth of what our usual turnout is. But for the last few years before we did the bowling stuff, we were having it at the Bond Bar in Vegas, and they finally kind of gave us the boot because I guess we kept violating their rules or something. I don't know what the deal was, but
who knows?
We, PDW had displayed some knives, and they got really upset about that. And then the year before that, I guess someone was carrying concealed and flashed their piece out on the lane or something like that, and and of course it was our fault.
Right.
So anyway, we just kind of gave up with that and said, you know what, let's just do our own thing. So
cool. Well, new location.
I like the more intimate venue anyway. You get to really talk to people and meet them. And we could never hear anything at the Bond Bar, like
that boots and pants club atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. The DJ would have the music turned up so loud you'd have to pretty much yell to talk to anybody. But
awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I love interacting with people at SHOT Show. It really is cool to kind of meet the end users I don't have a chance to interact with on a regular basis. So super cool. Got some great feedback too from some people, even on some podcast episodes. So it was really cool.
Cool.
Enjoyed it. Yep. And then let's see. So for next year, I think we'll probably be doing the booth thing again. I will probably increase the coverage a little bit next year from the media side. We did have a bunch of stuff, like I said, kind of on the social side rather than on the site side. But I'd like to get back to some more stuff like that. But
cool.
Anyway, that was a SHOT Show in a nutshell, if you will. Yeah. Thanks for listening to Gear Tasting Radio. As always, if you have questions, use the pound tag Gear Tasting in any social media network, and we will get them answered here on the show or on our Gear Tasting video series that we do on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you're listening there, and you can be the first to know when we release an episode each Tuesday. And while you're there on iTunes, be sure to show us some love by leaving a 5-star review. Of course, if we earned it. I would hope that we earned it. If we don't, though, let us know. We like feedback, too. So it helps expose our podcast to more potential listeners and kind of helps us grow as a show and make it better. So definitely would appreciate you leaving a review and rating there. Last but not least, check out our Patreon page. We are supported here on the show by our Patreon page, and while you do, contribute on a monthly basis, we do have perks to give you back in return for that, for your patronage. So visit patreon.com/ITS Tactical. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.